XRP Las Vegas is in full swing. David Schwartz is on stage talking about all kinds of different things, the Ripple stablecoin, AMMs, and so much more. I really think there's a lot of value here, so I want to go through it, give you my 2 cents, give you my context, and let's go ahead and learn something right from David's mouth.
The things that I've discovered is that there's a lot of different problems that people have that require different solutions. XRP is not going to solve every problem in the cryptocurrency space. The XRP is not going to solve every problem in the cryptocurrency space. That's not how it's going to work. That's not how it worked in the internet space, right? There's no one company, product, or service that is the internet. What makes the internet so great is that there's a wide variety of solutions that appeal to a wide variety of people. And because of that, if you're launching a new product or service and you launch it on the internet, you have a target market of people who have home internet access, who have smartphones, they're internet consumers. And what we need is we need an ecosystem of blockchain cryptocurrency consumers, people who have access to this diverse ecosystem of products and services. Where a stablecoin is particularly important is where the volatility of a digital asset is a minus. There are a lot of applications where the volatility of a digital asset either doesn't matter very much or where it's a plus. Obviously, if you're holding XRP or any other digital asset for speculative value, volatility is fine.
It's most of the crypto market.
Volatility is fine. If you're an exchange, volatility is fine. And even in many payment applications, volatility is not a problem. But there are some applications, particularly in applications that are tightly regulated, where using a digital asset directly for the application is not possible, or at least not possible today. And if we limit ourselves to just the technologies that we most want other people to use, other people are going to have terrible experiences.
So what David's talking about here is there's going to be some use cases with institutional players that XRP can't be used, or maybe the bank doesn't feel comfortable using it and they want to use some type of stable coin, and giving that company a full range of options is what Ripple's trying to do here. So that's what I got from David's comments.
I love for everybody to use XRP for every payment. That would be wonderful. But if I tell you if you don't use XRP for every payment, there's nothing for you here, nobody would be in this room would be completely empty. And so the stablecoin is critical in regulated environments, in many cases where a digital asset can't be used directly. As a sort of intermediary asset, there's cases where if it's cross-jurisdiction, where a digital asset is better. And so what we also discovered, there's a lack of good stablecoins on the XRP. I don't want to criticize. I don't mean that there are no good stablecoins on the XRP Ledger. There are stablecoins on the XRP Ledger, but there isn't sort of one that's kind of grabbed the kind of attention that I think that you need to get that kind of critical mass. And so we thought that launching a stablecoin made sense, both for some of our institutional customers that can't use digital assets for payments, markets where digital assets don't work well, areas where volatility is minus. So we're going to target those types of use cases.
So just like anything, right? Ripple's going and having meetings with some institutions, some banks, some central banks, and they're like, we want to use this technology, but XRP can't be used for this current situation due to something like the SEC or some government body in that country that doesn't allow crypto being used, but they allow some type of stablecoin. There's a lot of countries that are moving forward with stablecoin regulation, and Ripple wants to have a solution for everybody, right? And that's, they want to go into a meeting and have a solution for you, whether you're a central bank, a bank, some type of corporation, a company. They want to have anything to offer you because, they're not wasting their time, but they're in there, they're talking to you. They want to be able to move you forward with technology. So I really like this. He's going to start talking about AMMs here in just a second.
David, is there a name for the Ripple stablecoin?
Oh yeah, this is cool.
You know what? You're just going to have to call it the Ripple stablecoin for now. I have been told that I cannot disclose the name on pain of death until... So come to Apex
next month
in Amsterdam. Is it June?
It's next month, which is...
Oh yeah, okay. Next month, come to Amsterdam, and I think you will be among the first to know the... Maybe we should start some betting pools about what the name is.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to throw something out there, you said Ripple stablecoin.
I've heard people call it the Ripple stablecoin. I don't think that's
you guys got any good names?
Actually, that's not incredibly, that's for no reason.
I mean, it sounds like they already have a name, but if you have a really cool name, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to take a look.
USD Ripple, USDR, USDX. So yeah, you guys can come up with a betting pool of all the possible names. Make sure to have a none of the above category, and best of luck.
Yeah, and I think that's a great idea. Let the community decide what the Ripple stablecoin should be. Schwartz, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I could push that.
You guys will have to come to APEX
than you. I know who you are.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the importance of automated market.
There we go. We're there.
So what is an automated market maker?
So an automated market maker is something that sort of adapts the time between buyers and sellers. These exist in many traditional markets. If you have a broker and you go to buy stock in a publicly traded company like IBM, there is a healthy order book of people who will buy the stock from you and people who will sell the stock to you. And there are professionals whose job is to make sure that that market exists. They trade on the exchanges, and they generally get preferential access to the exchange in exchange for committing to keep those sort of spreads tight on the market. An automated market maker is the decentralized version of the same thing. It's always willing to buy and sell an asset so that if I want to buy an asset today and maybe Rachel wants to sell it tomorrow, I may not want to wait until she's ready to sell and she may not want to wait until I'm ready to buy. So an automated market maker has a pile of two assets, let's say USD and XRP, and it's always willing to buy XRP and it's always willing to sell XRP at some price so that other people can trade whenever they want. But there's another important thing about automated market makers compared to like the more traditional market makers. Because the automated market makers are implemented on decentralized blockchains, you can participate in an automated market maker not just by trading with it, but also by a sort of the equivalent of lending in assets. So remember I said the automated market maker has to have some USD so it can buy XRP whenever someone wants to sell it. And it has to have some XRP so it can sell XRP whenever someone else wants to buy it. What an automated market maker does is it makes a return, it generates revenue from various different mechanisms, including the spreads on its trades. And if you lend it, your asset, your XRP or your USD or both, then you own a sort of share in the automated market maker.
So remember, like if you're getting into AMMs, you just want to be very careful. Obviously do that research before you just commit. And you need to be able to commit XRP with maybe if it's USDC or USDT or whatever the other asset is, you have to commit them both at the same time. It's not just like, hey, I'm committing XRP here. You need to really commit both. Also, you need to be paying attention because if you think the price of XRP is going to go up dramatically over the next XYZ, whether it's a month, weeks, whatever the time frame is, right? And you're putting all of this, this XRP with some other asset into AMMs and the price goes up, you might lose there, right? So you want to just be paying attention. Currently, I don't really have a whole lot of money in AMMs. I'm kind of letting the kinks get kind of solved out and resolved before I kind of commit anything there. And I'm more of just holding XRP till mass adoption happens, right? I know this thing's going to take time. I get to make this content. I get to speak in front of you about these assets that I really like. And XRP by far is always at the top of the list of when I think about mass adoption in crypto and what businesses want to look out for. Like they want to work with a company, Ripple. At the end of the day, banks and institutions want to work with the best of the best, and Ripple is the best of the best. Let me go ahead and play a little bit more of this.
And you benefit from the trades that automated market maker makes. And one of the things that I've noticed in this space is that a lot of ideas that don't seem that interesting from one side are very interesting from the other side. Like, for example, there are these lending protocols that are mostly so that like rich people can spend their Bitcoin without having to pay income tax. That's not super exciting, right? Like you can borrow against it and that's not taxable, and like really rich people want to hold their Bitcoin, they've made millions of dollars and now they can buy groceries without paying taxes. That's not super exciting. But on the flip side of that is someone who's lending the dollars that has a very valuable collateral, who has a secure loan that they're making an interest rate on, and that person might have had no ability to get a return on their assets. The counterparties to the AMM traders, and maybe you don't care about traders and speculators being and arbitrageurs being able to make money, but it's interesting that you have a way at a fairly low and well understood risk to get a return on your assets by participating on the other side.
Great, that's a good explanation. So Ripple's AMM, it mainnet in March, correct?
Ripple's implementation of an AMM for the XRP Ledger, I think it activated in March.
Okay, so what does that mean exactly?
It means that there's AMM functionality now built in as core functionality in the XRP Ledger. And this automated market maker allows you to participate essentially by lending assets to it or trading them for an ownership interest in the AMM. And it integrates with other extra features like...
Any other key features that you want to mentioned. And
Need some water up there.
There are a couple of features. So we didn't just like take it, there's a lot of other decentralized exchanges that have automated market makers built into them, and we didn't want to just do the same thing that everybody else is doing. And so we looked at some of the unique features of the XRP Ledger and some, more creative ideas about how we could make things more interesting. So a couple of key features. Number one, it inherits all of the benefits of being on the XRP Ledger. And some of those are really important. So one of them is transactions are fast. When when an arbitrager is trading against, an arbitrager is someone who basically wants to buy an asset for an unusually low price or sell an asset at an unusually high price, and they're very important to the AMM ecosystem. The AMM ecosystem won't work without arbitrageurs to trade against the AMM. They take some risk because their trade takes some time to close. The XRP Ledger transactions are very fast, typically completed within 5 seconds. That minimizes the risk that arbitrageurs take and allows them to arbitrage much more accurately, which improves the performance for everybody and improves, the behavior for both traders and liquidity providers. There's also no block producers on the XRP Ledger. There's no dictator who decides which transactions go in which block or what transactions go in which order. If you know about other blockchains, they have miners who do something called MEV. Basically what that means is they take the transactions and they inject their own transactions in them or reorder them to their own advantage, and that hurts everybody else in the ecosystem. That's not possible on the XRP Ledger. So
that's cool.
Low transaction fees are also important. So if I'm an arbitrage and I'm only going to make $10 on an arbitrage transaction, if the transaction fee is $12, I'm not going to submit the transaction, and that's an opportunity that's lost to the ecosystem. And there are a lot of those, right? If you can only transact every minute for a cost of $10, that's a lot lower than if you can transact every 5 seconds at essentially a fraction of a penny. And so those are differences that the AMM just sort of gets just by virtue of being on the XRP Ledger. But it has.
So he's basically saying on some blockchains where it's a little bit more expensive, some of those transactions, are opportunities for people to make money using some type of AMM. Might not happen because of the increased cost. Because it's so cheap on the XRP Ledger, you can do, all these different transactions for under a penny, and more transactions can happen, which means more opportunity for people to make money through the automated market maker.
A couple of design differences, and I think the two most important is, number one, it integrates with the existing order books on the XRP Ledger. Because the XRP Ledger is so fast and so cheap, it can trade through order books, which have a similar function to the AMM, they're just not automated. And there's a synergy of having both of those in the same ecosystem because they're good at different things. So for example, AMMs provide liquidity all of the time, automatically, but they're not very capital efficient, and they're not very good for assets that aren't that volatile, like dollars. Whereas the order book is really good for assets that are not that volatile, and it's really capital efficient. So having both of those in the same ecosystem, I think they're really the synergy is really gonna allow the AMMs to be more efficient and the order books to trade more efficiently. The last feature, which I think is really cool, this is something that we came up with that's nowhere else in the world unless they copied us, called the continuous auction mechanism. And so the way this works is, this idea is just so cool. So the idea is that arbitrageurs are necessary to the ecosystem. AMMs couldn't work without them, but they're also slightly parasitic in the sense that an arbitrager makes a profit by trading against an automated market. So they're sort of like necessary, but to an extent, they're also taking revenue away. What the XRP Ledger's AMM implementation does is it gives special execution privileges to one person. They basically bid for an auction slot that allows them advantages when they're the arbitrager. So the idea is, if you're an arbitrager and you're going to make $100 a day, you might be willing to pay $90 a day for that slot, $80 a day for that slot. And so a significant percentage of the money that the arbitrager would have made instead goes to the liquidity providers. And the automated market maker implementation is really, the way we designed it, is totally biased in favor of the liquidity providers, because they're the people who we hope will drive the ecosystem.
So that's me and you, right? The people that are helping provide liquidity on the automated market makers are really designed to help us make more money through this mechanism. Remember, do your own due diligence with AMMs. I would, obviously I am not your financial advisor or anyone's financial advisor, but you need to obviously do your research. I would dip my toes in very carefully and don't go all in on one particular side of the asset. It needs to, you know, if you have 500 XRP or $500 in XRP and $500 in a stablecoin, you need to put both of those in the automated market maker. There's a lot of great videos, a lot of information that Ripple's been put out. So I would recommend you start there if you are going to dip your toes in. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's a little bit different of a video, but there's a lot of great things that David said. I wanted to at least get them on the channel, and so you guys understand what's going on behind the scenes. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time. Aloha.